Hello everyone. Let us see the second part of your module 3. The second part, which will contain the application protocols for IoT. This is the second part of your module 3. In this you will be studying what are the protocols that are being used in the IoT architecture. So first we have the transport layer. Coming to this transport layer, as we all know that we have to transport the data ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಡೇಟಾನ ಒಂದು ನೋಡಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೋಡಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಡೇಟಾನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೂ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ಸ್. ಎರಡು ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ಐದರ್ ನಾವು TCP ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ UDP ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್. Next we have IoT application transport methods. In this we have where this section will tell us about the various types of IoT applications data and the ways this data can be carried across a network. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಈ ಡೇಟಾನ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ how that has been forwarded, that and all will comes under this IoT application transport method. So we have two parts. The first part is the transport layer, and the second part here you will be having is the IoT application transport methods. Let us see what is this transport layer. In transport layer we have two protocols. Mainly ನಮಗೆ ಎರಡು protocol ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Let us see what are those protocols. So those two protocols are nothing but your TCP and UDP. Here the constrained nature of IoT network requires a closer look at the uses of these traditional transport mechanism. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಡೇಟಾನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಯಾವ ತರ ಡೇಟಾ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. And this is IoT application transport method, where you will have some of the application data and the way this data can be carried across the network. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈ IoT application transport methods ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದ್ತೀವಿ. Like what are the methods ಅಥವಾ what are the types of IoT application data, ಯಾವ ತರ ಡೇಟಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಆ ಡೇಟಾನ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು IoT application transport methods under ಅಲ್ಲಿ will study. Here we have the transport layer, where with the TCP or IP protocol we have two transport protocols mainly. So the first protocol we have here is the transmission control protocol, that is the TCP. As the name itself suggests, it is of a protocol which is being used in order to transmit the data or packets from source to the destination. Source in the destination ಗೆ ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ information exchange ಮಾಡುವಾಗ we will make use of these protocols. Coming to this particular transmission control protocol, that is your TCP, it is of an connection oriented protocol. ಅಂದ್ರೆ before sending an information, ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ information ನಾನು destination ಅಥವಾ receiver ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ I have to establish the connection between the source and the destination. Source ಮತ್ತೆ destination ಮಧ್ಯ ನಾನು connection establish ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. That connection can also be called as your session. I can call that particular connection as the session. So the TCP is of the connection oriented protocol. And for example, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ತರ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ your traditional telephone conversation. Traditional ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ like it was like wires connect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು we used to have the communication links between the two parties. ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇದ್ರು ಅವ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ನಾವು first connectivity ನ provide ಮಾಡಿ then we may exchange the information. This is about the TCP. It is of a connection oriented protocol. The first session is nothing but the link should be established between the source and the destination before I am going to exchange the data. ನಾನು ಡೇಟಾನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ನಾನು ಲಿಂಕ್ ನ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In the same way, the example can be your traditional telephone conversation. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ we can have the conversation. We have one more protocol, that is your UDP. UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. Here, User Datagram Protocol is also the protocol which is being used in order to exchange the data from one source to the other destination. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ TCP protocol ಇದ್ರೂ why we need this user datagram protocol? As we all know that TCP is of a connection oriented protocol. TCP ನಮಗೆ connection oriented protocol ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ in order to have the connectionless, ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು wireless technologies, wire technologies ಅಂತ ಹೆಂಗೆ ನಮಗೆ technologies ಬಂದಿದೆಯೋ ಅದೇ ತರ in the transmission also we may require connectionless. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ TCP ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the time required in order to establish the connection between the source and the destination may take long time. ಅಂದ್ರೆ if the distance between the source and the destination is much larger, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ large ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ the distance is long between the source and the destination, ನನಗೆ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನೇಷನ್ ಮಧ್ಯ ನನಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ಲೆಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ಲೆಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ your UDP. And here we can send the data from source to destination in a faster manner. TCP ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ UDP ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಡೇಟಾನ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಬಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದೇ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನೇಷನ್ ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಎನಿ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯೋರ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್. ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಮೇಲ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆ ಮೇಲ್ ಐಡಿಗೆ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಡೆಲಿವರ್ಡ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ that is an example for your UDP. It is of a connectionless protocol where we can quickly send the data between the source and the destination, but it doesn't provide the guarantee of delivery. Andre it doesn't provide like whether the packet has been delivered correctly or not anta helala. For example, we have the mail delivery system in which a letter is being mailed to a destination. Namige our mail ID gottidre saku we can send a mail, but confirmation of this ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ನಮಗೆ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಅನದರ್ ಲೆಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರು ನಮಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಆ ಮೇಲ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಾದ್ರು ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಮೇ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ದಟ್ ದ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಮೇಲ್ಡ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we doesn't have any proof or the guarantee that the mail has been sent to the correct destination. So this is about your TCP and the UDP. Where TCP is the main protocol which is being used at your transport layer. Now TCP ಅಥವಾ UDP ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್. ಲೈಕ್ ಇದು ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೇಟಾನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಇದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು ಯೋರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅ correct manner. In addition, it will ensure that the reassembly ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಆ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಡೇಟಾನ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ರಿಸೀವರ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನನಗೆ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಎನ್ಶ್ಯೂರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ದ ರೀಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆರ್ ವಿಂಡೋ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನರ್ ಇಟ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಅಂಡ್ ರೀಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ರೀಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ವೈಲ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದ ಸೆಂಡರ್ in order to send it in order to retransmit that particular packet. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಳಿಸಕ್ಕೆ it will send a request to your sender so that the sender will send that particular packet. In the same way, the benefits which occurs with the cost of overhead per packet and per session is high, and overall packet per second performances and latency ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ and the complete performance may go down. In contrast to your UDP ನ consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it has been used in the network services also. Network services ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ DNS, that we have to know that domain name system, NTP that is your network protocol, DHCP that is your dynamic host control protocol, and simple network management protocol SNMP for real time data traffic including either voice ಆದ್ರೂ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆದ್ರೂ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, that is done over the internet protocol. In case performance and latency are more important than packet retransmission. ನಾವು ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಲೈಕ್ ರೀಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂದರೆ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಹೈಯರ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಆನ್ ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಒನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೇಟೆನ್ಸಿ ದ ಡಿಲೇ time or delay or between the packets should be less. Athwa time taken to send the packet from the sender to the receiver should be less, because resending a lost or video packet doesn't add value it. When the reception of packets must be guaranteed error free, then the application protocols take care of that particular function. Andre receiver enadru guarantee ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ನಾವು ರಿಸೀವ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾರೆ, ಈ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ದೆನ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್. When using this TCP, each packets need to add a minimum of 20 bytes of TCP overhead. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 20 bytes ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, while UDP adds only 8 bytes. So this is the difference between the TCP and the UDP. Difference na consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ TCP connection oriented, UDP connectionless. Next, coming to your TCP, performance ಮತ್ತೆ latency may go down and packet retransmission ಆಗತ್ತೆ. UDP ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲೇಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ರಿಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟು ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ TCP, again it will guarantee that the packet has been successfully sent to their destination. ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, UDP ನಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. And in TCP, for each packet we will add extra 20 bytes, minimum of 20 bytes as the TCP overhead, where UDP na consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it will just add only 8 bytes. In the same way, TCP will also requires the establishment and potential maintenance of an open logic channel. Adu closed andre it should not be a secret channel, it should be an open channel, where if that particular channel enadru ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ requirement ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ then that channel can be used by that particular source. The IoT nodes may also be limited by the intrinsic characteristics of the data link layer. Data link layer the characteristics na consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the node will be limited for some of the characteristics itself. For example, low power and lossy networks, that is your LLNS, may not cope with your TCP sessions. ಅಂದ್ರೆ large number of TCPs ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಪವರ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ the power required in order to have the connection ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನು ಡೇಟಾನ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ the time required is more. So ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the slow power and lossy network may not support with your TCP protocol. For that we have some of the new protocols, new application protocols, like your COAP, that is Constrained Application Protocol. It is almost always uses UDP. And why implementation of industrial application layer protocols may call for the optimization adoption of the UDP transport layer in if run over LNNS. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈ low power lossy networks ಗೆ ನಾವು UDP ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ constrained application protocol na use ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ we may have the optimization where we can implement that particular thing in the industrial applications also. For example, we have here a device language message specification or companion specification of energy metering, that is DLMS or COSIM, where it is being used as an application layer protocol. It is of a popular protocol in order to have the smart meter ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದ್ರ readings na read ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. That is your device language message specification and the companion specification for energy metering. And it is of a de facto standard in Europe. Europe ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು already use ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, so it is of a de facto standard. Next, we have to select the TCP for cellular networks. Cellular network na ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we will go for TCP because these networks are more robust and can handle the overhead. Andre ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ failure ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ problem ಬಂದ್ರೆ they can handle. So for cellular networks we will go for TCP, and for LLNS, that is your low power lossy networks, we will go with your UDP because it is of a constrained one. Andre ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ power ಮತ್ತೆ it is of a lossy channels, we will take it or we will consider that particular thing as a constrained network. In order to have a connection and all, it becomes a problem. So UDP will act as a better choice, and often in sometimes it is a mandatory thing in order to choose UDP. So for the in order to have the data exchange in your cellular network, we will consider TCP. In LLNS, that is in low power lossy networks, we will go with UDP. As we have seen, if with respect to your cellular network it is better to use TCP, and with respect to your LLNS it is better to use UDP. In the same way, if I make use of your LLNS, it will reduce the overhead associated with the session establishment because I am using the UDP where the connectivity is not required. So it will reduce the time taken in order to build the particular session, and it will offer the long association thing. What is this long association? It is nothing but a session stay up once in place. Andre na one sati packet na send ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it will be established once, because the communication may take a session in order to establish is much less than involving in the open. ಅಂದ್ರೆ open session ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಾನು communicate ಮಾಡೋದು easy, because ನಾನು communication ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗೆಲ್ಲ I cannot establish a new session, so that the time taken in order to establish a session may be more, so that I can involve in opening and closing many separate sessions at the same time. In the same way, if I consider your cellular networks, a short associations better controls by tearing down the open association after transmitting. If there is any open session in your cellular networks, andre cellular network alli nan open association na consider ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ andre, once the packets has been transmitted, packets andre communication of data or the information has been communicated, ಅದೇನಾದ್ರೂ ನಾನು information ನ communicate ಮಾಡಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, what we have created called as your open association. Open association ನಾವೇನ್ create ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, that will be broken down. In the same way, we have the data. While sharing the data, we can send either large amount of data or only the small bytes of data. If I consider large amount of data, then I'll consider your cellular links. Cellular links idre nanu easy agi large amount of data na optimize ಮಾಡಿ I can send it in the open session. But if I consider your LLNS, that is your low power lossy networks, I can send only the small amount of data, because if I send large amount of data, there may occur the packet loss. Packet loss ಆಗಬಹುದು. So in order to overcome that particular packet loss na avoid ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ I'll go for this smaller packets, smaller data, where LLNS can handle that particular thing efficiently. Because of these, packet loss ratios are generally higher on your LLNS, because ನಾನು ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ನ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಲೋ ಪವರ್ ಲಾಸಿ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ದ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ನ ನಾನು ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲಾರ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡೆಲಿವರ್ಡ್ ಟು ದಿ ರಿಸೀವರ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಡ್ with your cellular network, your low power lossy networks will have the high packet loss ratio, where it will keep the data transmission amount small over the LLNS. And ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಾಗತ್ತಪ್ಪ LLNS ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ದ ರೀಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್. ಲೈಕ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಧ್ಯ ಇಂಟರ್ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಟರ್ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್ ನೋಡಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದ ರಿಸೀವರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದಿ ಸೆಂಡರ್ ಟು ಸೆಂಡ್ ದ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಬಟ್ again, if the sender sends the packet, there may be a chance of losing the packet again. So it will restrict this retransmission of large amount of bytes. Andre large number of bytes enadru ide anta andre, it will restrict sending the packet again. So this is the comparison between your cellular network and the LLN deployment for the transportation of DLMS or COSEM data. Next, we have the summary of your TCP and UDP protocol. So TCP and UDP are the two protocols that are available in your transport layer in order to have the transmission of data from one layer to the other layer or from one node to the other node. If I choose TCP, we will go for connection oriented, or the session has to be created without passing any data. If I consider UDP, it is of a connectionless protocol where there is no need of connection in order to have the communication or in order to share any type of information. So the performance of your constraint nodes or constraint devices or network itself depends on what type of protocol we are going to choose. So if I choose UDP, it is of a connectionless, but the packets will not, the guarantee for the delivery of packets is not provided. If I consider TCP, the time required may be more in order to create the session. So everything depends on what type of the protocol I'll be choosing. So the performance and scalability of your constraint nodes and the networks also will depend on the thing or the protocol what I select. Next we have the transport methods. Coming to this, let us see what are the methods that are being associated with your IoT application transportation. The first one we have here is the application layer protocol not present. What is this application layer protocol not present means? The data payload is being directly transported on top of your lower layers. ಅಂದರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲೋವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So this is your application layer protocol not present. Second one we have here is the SCADA, where SCADA stands for supervisory control and data acquisition, where it is of a protocol, it is a common protocol in an industrial world, but before developing, it was developed before the days of IP. ಅಂದ್ರೆ IP ಬರೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ನಾವು ಈ protocol ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, but it has been adapted for the IP networks. But nowadays ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, IP networks ನ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ networks ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಈ SCADA ನ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಿದೀವಿ. So application layer protocol ಅಂತ is not present, where we will have the direct transportation. ಈ SCADA ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is a common industrial protocol that has been used in the world, and it was developed before your IP, but nowadays we are using it is adapted with your IP network. Next we have the generic web-based protocol. What is this generic web-based protocol? Where we will make use of Ethernet, Wi-Fi ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ 4G LTE, which are found in the form of consumer ಮತ್ತೆ enterprise ಆ ತರ ಬರುವಂತ protocols ನ ನಾವು ಅಥವಾ ಆ devices ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು communication purpose ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ್ದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ protocols ನ ನಾವು generic web based protocols ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. For some example we have here is the Ethernet, Wi-Fi and 4G. So these are being used in your IoT devices that communicate over the non-constrained networks, and it is applicable only for the non-constrained networks, and it is not applicable for your constrained networks. The last one we have here is the IoT application layer protocols. What is this IoT application layer protocols? Where for the application layer we have some of the protocols defined in order to run on the constraint nodes. ಅಂದ್ರೆ constraint nodes ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು communication ನ establish ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ we are developing some of the application layer protocols. Coming to this application layer protocols, we may use your MQTT, COAP. MQTT ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ message queuing telemetry transport, and where COAP stands for constraint application protocols. These are some of the application layer protocols, and these application layer protocols will run on your constraint nodes, where it will have only small compute footprint, and it will well adapted for the network bandwidth constraints on cellular ಅಥವಾ satellite links or constrained 6LoWPAN networks. ಇದು ನಾವು constrained networks ಅಥವಾ constrained node ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ network bandwidth constraint ಇದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಮೆಥಡ್ ನ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಂಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಥರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಮೆಥಡ್ನ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ ನಮಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಅವೈಲಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಥವಾ ತುಂಬಾ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆ protocols ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, in the application layer we have two protocols. The first one is your MQTT, that is message queuing telemetry transport, and the other one is your COAP, constraint application protocol. The first method we have here is the application layer protocol is not present, where we will not make use of the application layer protocol, that is your internet protocol or some UDP or trans TCP protocol. We are not using any application level layer protocols. Let us see how that can be done. Without using these protocols, we can send only a small bytes of data, where we cannot send the large amount of data or large bytes of data at a time. Both the sender can send only some few bytes of data, and the receiver also can receive only some bytes of data, and this type of things is called as your class 0, and this is defined under your IETF RFC 7228. For this reason, where the processing capability and the power constraints and cost will not implement a full structured network protocol stack, where it, as we all know that it doesn't use your IP, TCP or UDP, some other protocols in order to have the communication or in order to send the data. The processing capability will be low, and the power constraint may increase, and the cost may also increase. So keeping all these reasons in mind, we cannot implement a complete structure of your network protocol stack. So class 0 devices, it is only made for your small objects or simple smart objects, and implementing a robust protocol stack is usually not useful and sometimes not possible with the limited available resources. ಅಂದ್ರೆ robust protocol, ನಾವು ಪ್ರೋಟೋಕಾಲ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ which is robustness, ಅಂದ್ರೆ if there is any failure it should overcome and it should work properly. But ಆ ಥರ ನಾವು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is not possible when we have some limited amount of resources. ಕಮ್ಮಿ resources ಇದ್ದಾಗ we cannot implement that full structured network protocol stack. Here we have an example. In this example, we have considered two low-cost sensors. The first one is your temperature sensor and the other one is your relative humidity sensor, where these two sensors will be sending the data over the LPWA LoRaWAN infrastructure, and in order to represent the temperature data or relative humidity data, it will make use of 2 bytes of data. Each sensor will make use of 2 bytes in order to represent its data, and here it is of a small payload length. As we have seen, the payload length can vary from 127 bytes to 1024 bytes, etc. It is of just a small data payload where it can directly transport on top of your MAC layer, that is your higher layers, without using any type of protocols, where the network will make use of internet protocol and the transport layer will make use of either TCP or the UDP. But if I make use of the small data, then I doesn't require any type of protocols in order to send the data. But this becomes a constrained one. If I make use of the huge complex system or the network, then this becomes a problem, where temperature can represent its data in different form, as we have three types of measurements of temperature, that is your Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. If I make use of different types of sensors, there are a number of temperature sensors with different variations, where each temperature sensors may report the data in different forms. In the same way, your relative humidity can also do the same, and a temperature value will have, but the sensor may read the data in some form, but that can be converted or it can be decoded or processed, and that can be sent in different form as a vendor requires. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಸೆಲ್ಸಿಯಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾನ ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಸೆನ್ಸಾರ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ your temperature sensor will be reading in the Celsius form, but For me, I may require that particular value in the Fahrenheit or Kelvin form. If I make use of the conversion formula in the programming part, then I'll get the required form of that particular temperature. So if I make use of this in a small network, that is if I make use of only 2 or 3 sensors, then this conversion or decoding is an easy thing. But if I go for hundreds or thousands of sensors, if I go by adding the sensors to a network, then that becomes a problem, where it will interpret the temperature where in different form, andre as the vendor requires a form and represent madake, that becomes a problem. So that acts as a complex thing. In order to overcome this, we will make use of an intermediary nodes, that is called as your broker. In order to overcome that particular problem in the IoT, it will provide a broker method, that is, it will provide an intermediary technique. So the broker is called as your IoT data broker, where it acts as an middleware, that is an intermediary standardized sensor, where it will take the sensor output and it will convert into a particular format as the user or the vendor requires. So in order to overcome that complexity or the difficulty in converting the format in which way we require. So for that particular thing, we will go for this IoT data broker. We have a figure here where we have 3 sensors X, Y, Z, where it is of 2 byte data and it is of 4 byte and it is of 8 byte. They have used 3 different types of sensors. In order to decode these values, we have here the IoT data broker, which is acting as an intermediary between your application and the sensors. So it will convert the data, whatever the sensor sends the data, and that will be converted or decoded into the required form, and that will be sent back to your applications. So this is how the IoT data broker acts. In figure we have 3 sensors, that is X, Y, Z, and all are of temperature sensors, but the output is different. The IoT data broker understands the different formats and it will encode and it will then decode the data into a common standardized format as the vendor requires, where application ABC can access the temperature data without having to deal with decoding. Andre application ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ ಡಿಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎನ್ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, it will be done in your IoT data broker layer itself. But applications ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, it will get a common standardized format.